Say what's on your mind. Speak loud from within. Make us sing along with the power of the pen. Say what's on your mind. Speak loud from within. Make us sing along.
Hey, what's up?
Donald!
Hey, what's happening, ST? How are you?
I'm good. Can you hear me okay?
I can, yeah, I'm fine. Can you hear me okay?
Listen, yes, I can.
Right.
Everybody, y'all know how we do here. Let's clap it up for our guest for tonight, Mr. Donald Lawrence. Yes, sir. So Donald, how are you? How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm really well. I actually was in Europe last week, so I'm just really getting back in sync of things. I got a lot of work to do coming up, so I got one more free week. It's been a really good summer, and I didn't really work that much, so I've enjoyed being home in Chicago. Great, well, hot weather, but great weather, because anytime it's hot here is what I love it.
You know what's funny? What I love about you, Donald, is that, if anybody follows you on social media, if anybody pays attention, they know that you don't come out a lot.
I come out I don't come out a lot. I'm really a classic introvert. Most people think I'm shy, but I'm not shy. I just did get exhausted with people after a while.
You sound like my wife is probably loving you right now.
Oh, yeah, I get exhausted after a while. I'm good.
That's some good stuff, man. All right, so listen, you were recently in New York for the Cinematic Symphony.
For Leon Lacy, yeah.
Talk about that with Yolanda Adams and A.R. Bernard.
Okay, yeah, it was great. Leon, of course, I've known for a very long time, probably since he either right when he was finishing high school or just going to college. So I've known him a long time. We've always kind of connected and talked about music, and I've watched him grow into becoming a conductor, and
he's amazing.
Of course, I knew him in the choir. The choir, I think, was probably very, very progressive for the time, and I see some similarities of what he was doing before everybody in a few other groups that I don't know that he even gets the credit for. I've known him for some time. So it was Leon Lacy as a conductor, along with Iyanla Vanzant, Dr. A.R. Bernard, Darwin Hobbs, as well as my sister Yolanda Adams. So then the A.R. Bernard, the mass choir from CCC. So it was really, really a great experience.
That's some good people right there.
I do. I work with Leon a lot. He does some string work for me and orchestra work for some of the records that I do. So I'm really proud of him. It was just a great experience.
Are you paying attention to a lot of the younger artists and younger people that are coming up today? Are you really focusing on some of them?
I always do. I try to encourage new talent. I'm definitely more prone and more kind of attracted to unique talent and not necessarily the same old. Nothing wrong with that. It's just I tend to be one of those creatives that's on the left side of the page. So when I find those unique gifts like that, that kind of draws me a little bit more. So definitely when I see those unique unique artists like a Leon or like Doe or like some of the people that I really find to be very unique and kind of space and the epitome of what I really call an artist.
Yeah.
From a creative perspective, I pay a little bit more attention to those.
I've watched you promote but support more than anything your cousin.
Oh yeah, Rudy. Yeah.
Rudy Currents.
Yes.
Who's an amazing artist.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Sir the Baptist.
Sir, yeah.
Who's an amazing artist.
Yeah.
I love that about you, Donald, that you get behind and I believe that you get behind unique artists.
I do.
And
I'm a big supporter of people in my camp as well. Like Latrice and Blanche and Toby and Tommy. And I've just always been gifted with a lot of great talent around me. And Floyd and Dante and all of them. I love pushing them all as well.
These guys, they are amazing.
Yeah, they're really, really gifted. And, we have a good time. And I'm always proud of them and watching them grow and doing their thing. So, yeah, I really do. I love great talent. And I love great talent, not just in gospel music, all the way around. So you may see me push people globally. If I find something unique, I'm either repost it, say, hey, you guys need to check it out. I have a lot of incredible friends in Brazil. One Service Project, Lucas, their group is just absolutely phenomenal. Kim Uel in Brazil, like Israel Allen, who I just saw from London, who's just an amazing vocalist. Just a lot of groups and singers from around the world that I really, if I get a moment to just say something about, I'm definitely going to do it. You know.
First of all, let me ask you this, because I've been talking to Bishop about this, Bishop Walker. I've been talking with Stanley Brown about this as well, right? I can only imagine, you know, if you're anything like me, like when we grew up and we read the credits and we sat and listened to the records and listened for every detail, right? I can only imagine how much footage you may have from the behind the scenes and how many outtakes you may have of some great moments with these people you're naming, like Blanche McAllister in the studio, Floyd, and Toby and Tommy in the studio. Like, I know we get the final product, we get that final song, you know, which is what everybody's going for to give to the world. But man, I can only imagine the rehearsals and the preparation. What is that like, preparing with so many great artists?
You know what, I'm pretty organized. So it's, you know, when I'm ready to go, I'm ready to go, and I'm in it until we finish it. So for me, when we get ready to go to rehearsals, everybody knows that I'm focused and I'm ready to do it. I typically don't like rehearsal, but I'm a perfectionist, so we do it. And when we do it, I do it to the point to where I expect them to know it from then on out. So we have long rehearsals. When we get ready to work for albums and stuff like live albums, our rehearsals probably are 10 to 12 hours a day.
Come on, Donald.
For like maybe like a week, or sometimes at the most 2 weeks. But I try to work really hard to get the music in them, to get it in the muscles, to get it, you know, get the feel of it. I also teach them from a perspective of what I'm writing about, like what's behind how I'm writing. So they not only sing it like me, they feel it like me. They understand the revelation of it. And I did that Tri-City as well as the company. We just kind of work that way. So the rehearsal part is intense for us, but then once we're done, I expect them to show up and know it. I don't expect to teach this anymore. So they know, you know, sometimes I do, and people will find this funny, sometimes I do, when we haven't sang in a while, when they come back, I hear the praise team on their voice, and I tell them, leave the praise team where it is. I do not want to hear that with my music, all right? I hear those tones that you've been singing with, that's fine there, but this ain't me. So whatever you need to do to shake it loose and turn it off, because I don't want to. So they laugh at me about that sometimes. I can tell. I was like, okay, snap back, because I'm not trying to hear that.
I love it. I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the difference between Sunday morning and professional people. It's a difference. I mean,
it's nothing wrong with that, but you know, that is sometimes is a little bit more, and I'm not sure that it should be, but sometimes Sunday morning, especially these days, is a little bit more of, it's volunteer. But in the era that I came up with, even when you volunteered, you were really good. It was just a lot of good singers. It wasn't just, you just didn't sing in the choir if you couldn't sing. That's the era that I came up in. So, you know, when we get ready to do what we got to do, and I know people are paying money for tickets, I need you to be masters. That's what the Levites were. They were masters at what they did. So everyone knows that whatever that is going on, I need you to recalibrate.
Recalibrate.
Yep, absolutely.
Oh, God. It almost sounds like there's this cartoon, I'm trying to think of it, when they say I think it's Transformers, and they say mount up. It's like, yo, let's get ready. We get ready to go forward.
Right.
Let me ask you a question. Donald, you are trusted. You are trusted. And what I mean by that, you think about Being My Trailblazers. You think about Sunday's Best. You think about How Sweet the Sound, McDonald's Gospel Fest. You think about Oprah Winfrey's exclusive parties. What else do I have down here? People trust you to deliver, and now we understand why, right?
Well, I guess, you know, I think because probably I'm one of those artists, and it doesn't bother me. I think I'm one of those artists because I started off being a music director.
Okay.
I don't have a problem stepping into that space. You know, it doesn't make me feel like I'm less of an artist or that I've outgrown that. I mean, I just like for stuff to be right. So when they put it in my hands, luckily over the years, people know that they don't have to think about it twice. He's going to make sure that everyone shows up and that everyone is well, you know, presented. I'm looking back because my dog is always into something when I when I get online. She hates me for doing this, so she's always
It's all good. We don't discriminate on here. Whoever wants to pop in,
yeah,
that's fine.
I like to make sure things are right. So when people put it in my hands, I expect for it to be right, and I expect for my team to step to the plate. I don't, you know, that's the way it is. I like the fact that artists can come to me and they won't feel like that I would do less for them than I would do for myself.
Yeah.
That's a really, really very important of what I call artistic respect as well as integrity. So I want people to know that if I'm going to be doing something for you, I'm going to do it as well as I do for myself or better. I'm going to be even more, you know, conscious that I want to make sure that you can put your music in my hands and trust me. So over the years, you know, that's just what it's been. And it's been cool. And I really do have a lot of trust from a lot of people. What's up, those from Chile? I know we've been, a lot of people from Chile have been trying to get me to come and do a master class. So I'm saying hello to them. Hi at Jamaica as well. But yeah, that's what it is. So I love the fact that people can give me their music, their event, and know that it's going to be done well, you know.
One of the things that I remember when we were getting ready for the Sold Out recording, and I don't know if you remember this, but we had done a rehearsal, I think in Brooklyn. We were preparing for the recording, and this may have been the first time you heard me sing the lead for Keep On Moving On. And I'll never forget, you said, you was like, yo, S, yo, you are singing that song, man. You was like, but whatever you do, stay right there. You was like, stay right there. You said, don't let the audience force you. Don't let the audience force you to do more, or don't think that you have to do more. Right where you are, you was like, just chill there. And it may have not, well, I'm sure you meant it. It was very intentional. And to somebody else, it may not have meant much, but for me, that was like a 5-minute lesson, a 5-minute masterclass, because it's so easy to, you know, get caught up in the moment, get caught up in the audience and what's going on. And sometimes even in the song, and just give a lot. And,
yeah, when you're recording, you have to, I taught Tri-City and I taught the company to sing in playback mode. I say sing as if you're listening to the playback. And if you're listening to the playback that I'm listening to, you'll know when you're really going off track. Because the one thing about being with a great hyped audience is that they'll hype you up, but they'll make you start trying things. And then when you play it back, I just say it's crap. Like you got to do the whole thing over again because they amped you and, you know, your tones are harder. So when I tell people when they're recording live, like really, hi, Evie, it's good to see you. I love you. You're an incredible artist as well. When you're recording live, it's really important that you realize that you are recording. And I always tell people, make a map for yourself and stick to it. Just feel it. Just make the feeling honest. But don't get out there and as soon as everybody starts yelling for you, you're trying, because the same people who's yelling for you, when you make a mistake and your riff fall off a cliff, they're going to fall down laughing at you too.
When your riff falls off a cliff,
they're going to laugh at you. So just stick to the map and make it work. And then if we do a reprise, I give you space to just have a good time, but at least we got that first take. So it's rare, honestly, and I'm proud of them. I'm gonna celebrate like Tri-City as well as the company. It's rare that a lot of the leads have to do any overdubs. They're normally what you see is a one take from the session, because I've really trained them to know what that lead vocal is going to be and do it. And you know, I say this all the time too. The melody of a song is your ally. It's there to support you. Don't argue with it. Stick to it. Don't argue with it. It's a melody for a reason, and it's your best friend. There's no reason for you to fuss with a melody. Stick to the melody. You can never beat the melody of a song.
Listen, I hope y'all are taking notes. Donald, talk to me about the Music and Arts Global. What is that?
Music and Arts Global. Wow. My friend, who I miss dearly, Edwin Hawkins, prior to him passing away, I actually saw him 4 days before his transition, and he'd asked me he made me promise him that I would move his music and arts seminar forward. He had been talking to me about it for quite some years, you know, but, you know, I kind of was like, okay, Edwin, but I've never wanted a conference or anything like that. So I just would say, okay, you know, I'll see. But as he got sicker and stuff like that, of course, somebody had to take it over. So he left
Yeah.
it to me, and
Wow.
I, you know, took about 3 or 4 years to figure out how I would do something like this, because I always, you know, try to walk in my own unique path the way I would do it. So after doing like quite a few master classes in Europe and meeting a lot of the choir masters and the choirs and really just meeting some great friends, I decided that I would relaunch it in Europe. So we relaunched it this past April in London, and a lot of the places that I've been, a lot of people were surprised at who came and how well they could sing. But what they didn't realize was for about 3 or 4 years, I had trekked around Europe by myself, got to know a lot of the choirs, which I call the singing choirs in Europe. And they had learned a lot of my technique, my approach, and they all showed up, you know, around about 800 people from 20 plus countries. And man, the singing that they did, my friends from US who came, it's like, I can't believe you got them singing like that and following you the same way the company would follow you or try to sing. I was like, well, you know, we worked together, so it was really good. We're going to do it every 2 years. I'm going to kind of just let it sit in Europe or Scandinavia. I don't know when we would do it here in the U.S.
Because you know that's what we want. That's what we waiting for. We
well,
waiting.
You know, I feel like this. You have a lot of data here,
right?
So I wanted to go somewhere where I feel like it's not necessarily there, and I enjoyed it. Plus, it also made people in the U.S. leave their comfort zone and come somewhere else and create new experiences. So Music and Arts Global was about the music, but it was also about reconnecting with people that you wouldn't normally see and making friends that you wouldn't normally make friends. So I really made it almost like what I call a choral retreat, where you could come, you would,
love it.
You know, you felt a certain sense of wellness. My main message was loving thy neighbor as thyself. I think that's a really message that goes past people. So I really made it about a new experience, especially for people in the U.S., because they just don't like to leave the country that much. There's so much here that people just feel like you don't have to leave. But when you leave, it really gives you a different view of life, and that you know, it's more to the world than America. Like, you know, so we had a great time. I'm looking forward to 2025. So yeah, it's really cool. So that's what it was.
Talking in the comments too, man. They're excited.
It was a great experience. So hello to, I told them they're one of my new choirs. It's Music and Arts Global Mass Choir. It's my new kind of global mass choir. And we had a great time. Vincent Bohannon came and did a song. Anthony Brown. Professor Jeffrey LaValle. I want them to know who really wrote that song, Revelations.
That's right,
1901. Yeah, so he came, Mark Hubbard. Oh man, you know, we had a great band.
Melanie Daniels.
It was BB stopped by on his way to Barcelona. It was just a great moment. Then it was a lot of people from London, like my friend Basil Mead who's over the London Community Gospel Choir, Miss Karen from the Kingdom Choir, the choir director for the Kingdom Choir. That, for those of you who don't know the Kingdom Choir is, that's the choir that sang at Meghan and Harry's wedding. She shopped through too, and we just had a great time, a great 2.5 days of what I call a choral retreat, singing music, but also creating new experiences, new friends, and it was just a great moment. And again, we'll be coming back around again in 2025.
I'm excited. I think I'm gonna have to come. I'm gonna do like BB and swing by London.
You got to swing by. You got to swing by. Definitely. I'm definitely gonna keep it in Europe for quite a while. So it was good. It was a great experience, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm really proud of it. Again, it took me a minute to do it, because having a conference or something like that is nothing I really want to do. I don't even call it a conference. I really kind of call it a gathering or a retreat. And that's just what I want to do to move it forward. And my hashtag is inspiring the next generation of choral creatives. That's kind of what the message is of Music and Arts Global.
I love it, man. So you and I spoke recently, like maybe about a month ago. I think you had got wind of some music that I put out, and you sent me a text. I put out a project called Good Grief. And this project was birthed out of the loss of my mom, right? It was a very traumatic experience for me. And I have my moments where I kind of go back and forth, and I kind of just need some time just to deal with the reality that I'm living in now without my mom.
Mm-hmm.
You are a advocate of this next topic, and I would love for you to expound on it a little bit. What is your take on music therapy?
Music therapy is very, very powerful. You know, a lot of people don't realize that the word universe really is universe, one verse. All of creation is a song. So everything about creation really was all one verse. So we are made up of the mathematics of music, and it really has a big impact on every part of ourselves and our being.
Power of the pen. Yeah. Keep going. Oh my God.
Of our being. So music and therapy works because there's a neural factor in us, and I always tell them that, you know, music leaves what I call music memory maps with us. So I think that when we can take music and find ways to heal people, it really, really works. It works neurologically with us. Music finds a certain frequency, and when you find that particular frequency that could create like this dopamine in the brain, when you can tap into that, you can relax people when they won't even realize they're relaxed, and you could de-stress people and they won't even realize they're distressing, and then all of a sudden they just feel better. You know, I tell people all the time, music really works with our neurological being a whole lot. So I think music and therapy works hand in hand, and I'm usually if you understand my approach to writing, it is to make people feel like they stepped into my office and laid on the couch and talked to me, and I gave them some spiritual like kind of revelation and some spiritual solution. So I call it music therapy, but I call it lyric psychotherapy. So I usually like to pen lyrics that can help you get through some of the worst times of your life. And then I normally try to wrap that in the scripture, just for people who say, well, that's your opinion, what does the word say? So I try to give you a little bit of both.
You kind of, wow, oh my goodness. I can't wait to go back and watch this video to hear that one more time, man. You kind of talked about it just now, but in a more direct way. What is your take on the power of the pen? What is your take on the power of the pen?
Pen is very, very powerful. So is the person using it. So I always encourage them to tap in so that you can realize just how powerful your pen is, so that you can make sure that you are writing something that is going to help someone. And this is not a controversial topic. I just think that people don't know. We are in a time, definitely because praise and worship has been so popular for the last 10 or 12 years. And that tends to be, I tell people that tends to be vertical. It's usually a conversation between you and God, God and you, and we get to listen to that. And I think that's a beautiful thing, but there's a reason the scripture speaks about psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs. And I usually tell people that there's three things. There's man to God, there's God to man, then there's man to man inspired by God. We tend to leave out the two and really have, this era is focused a lot on the one, but we need all three. I think it's very important that we sing spiritual songs, the songs that is inspired by God to man, so that we can help some people get through the worst times in their life based on a message God gave us to give to them. Praise and worship lyric is a lyric, and it's really praising God for what he's done and worshiping from who he is. But that is not me telling you sometimes you have to encourage yourself. That's not a praise and worship lyric. And so a lot of times we've so focused on that, we forgot about this part. And I think we need it all. I think the church should be full of it all. I always tell people that when the pastor preaches to us, he doesn't preach based on his monologue between him and God. He has to talk to us and tell us something to help us get through life. So I think that as we use the pen, we got to make sure we're using it in its full capacity. That is, again, man to God.
Come on here,
God
Donald
to man,
Lawrence.
a man to man inspired by God. So we need it all.
We need it.
And then some people are more praise and worship. That's what they meant to do. And I think that's fine. I think that's great. But we came in a time because it became so popular that people just started writing it to be popular because they felt like that was what was going to get them get them on the charts. I'm not saying don't do it. If that's who you've always been, I celebrate that. Like I love Tasha. That's my niece. Yeah. She was always a worship leader. There are people. Elder Rodney Posey was doing worship music in the early 80s. I used to always ask him, well, why won't you sing something else? But that's just who he is. Right. So people who that's who they are, I celebrate that. But don't just do it just to try to get on the charts. That's when I kind of check out, because then I know it's not really coming from a place of this is who I am. This is you're doing this because you want to kind of get on the charts. I think that all music, when it comes from organically who you are, that's what we want. So again, you know, the pen is powerful. Make sure you use it in its capacity, full capacity, that you also speak to people sometimes. So we're not just hearing a monologue between you and the God and we're left out.
Jesus, thank you so much. That right there was so divine. I have to do this segment right now because what you just gave us was so pure and so necessary. I want you to know that you are appreciated, and I'm so happy that I get this moment to publicly tell you how much I love you and appreciate you. But I got a song to go with it too that we do right here on my show. It's the appreciation song. This is for you, Donald.
Okay.
We appreciate you.
Hey. Come on, y'all. Heart emojis.
Love and appreciate you.
And flame.
Yes, we do. We appreciate you. Love and appreciate you.
Let's go. Let's go.
Yes, we do. We appreciate you.
Hey.
Love and appreciate you. Yes, we do.
Man, Donald.
Oh, that's nice.
Listen,
you can
this has just been what, maybe 30 minutes, maybe 25 minutes, and the information that you've given us, the stories that you shared with us has been tremendous. Tremendous.
And thank you, everybody. I see all of the hearts, the roses. I love you guys. Thank you so much for just all of the kind remarks. And again, to everybody, you know, use your gift. Maximize it. Don't just do something just because it's a trend. True artists really exactly who you are. So make sure you really use your gift to its capacity. I think I came up in an era where I got to watch the Twinkies, the Andres, the Richard Smallwoods, and all of them. They were just the massiveness of their gift. It was, you know, when you heard it, it just made you want to go create. It wasn't just, they weren't just doing it just to get on a chart. And so I don't want us to lose, because I think gospel people are some of the most gifted people in the world. Yeah. And I don't want them to, you know, get to a place to where they're just mediocre because they're trying to get on the chart, and they got 3 chords that they want to write to because they don't want to do any extended like 11 flat 5s or 13. They don't want to do that anymore. They just want to do 4 chords and
Donovan,
say,
you hear
this? You know, I didn't come up doing that. You know, I come up listening to Tom Whitfield and Twinkie and Andre, and they were so innovative. And one of the reasons why I'm so innovative, because those are the people that I listen to, and I don't want us to lose that. I don't want us to lose it just for the sake of getting on the chart.
And what you said is so important as well. I was working with my son earlier tonight, and you know, one of the things that I do when I work with him, he's turned out to be a really great songwriter as well.
Yeah.
And I always
ask he gets it honestly, because you definitely have that gift.
Thank you, Donald. I ask him, who is he listening to? I always, whenever I work with him, I ask him, I say, who are you listening to, or what are you listening to? Because I want to know what is influencing him, you know, and what is he taking in, and is it something that's really going to help develop him, you know, because he's still being developed, he's young. And it's so important, man. And you're right, the things that we listen to made us who we are today. Yeah. You know, those I in my household, it wasn't just gospel music, right? It was, for me, it was gospel music. It was the OJs. Yeah. It was Aretha Franklin. It was Hall and Oates. Yeah. It was Tina Turner. Like, it was but these people were dynamic.
Yeah. All of them were who they were. They, you know, it was room for Tina to be Tina and Aretha to be Aretha. Tina didn't have to be like Aretha. I mean, of course, Aretha wasn't trying to be like nobody but herself. But there's room for everybody to be, you know, uniquely yourself. And I challenge everybody to do that. And I challenge, you know, the executives in radio to stop making everybody sound the same. You know, really allow new sounds to come up and new grooves to come on and new concepts and, you know, new text to songs. Every song doesn't have to be that one line that everybody uses. I like to find other things to talk about because there's so much, and the scriptures filled with so many lessons that we could write and put pen to song. But again, on radio, they have to be able to open to play in it and to allow these new artists to express themselves the way they do. Don't make them be just like someone else. I always say this too, that it's in neuroscience, it teaches us that thoughts can be seen, their DNA. Thoughts are actually DNA. They can look on a chart or graph and see your thoughts, and that your thoughts are exclusive to your own DNA. Well, thoughts speak to the brain, and brain speaks to the body. So I always tell everybody that your thoughts are exclusive to you. It speaks to your brain. So your gift works based on how your thought DNA speaks to your brain. You couldn't be like nobody else, even if you tried, because your DNA is exclusive to you. Trying to put somebody else's DNA in somebody else is just like, that's like trying to drop something in somebody's brain will cause brain damage. So you might as well just go ahead and be yourself anyway, because you can't be nobody else. We can all be influenced by people. We all are. But you are uniquely your own design. Learn to love it and be you. That's all you can be.
Donald, Goshen. Let's talk about Goshen. You know, first of all, every question that I have, you pretty much have answered it, but I'm just going to ask you anyway. You know, what have you ever, let me take a step back. Before I get to Goshen, have you ever wrote a song, or have you ever put out something or worked on something and it didn't click right away, but you already understood that it wasn't going to be an instant connection?
Yeah, I've had quite a, I would say 50 to 60% of my career has been that. But I think that true innovators are always ahead of the time. So you can't expect for the time to be at the time. They catch up with it later. I also really do believe that genius is not popular. Genius has never really been the popular thing. Popular has always been what everybody could do and catch on with. Geniuses are people who were challenged, and people said you couldn't do it that way, or that was just too much. So I've always gotten that. But the people that I love, even in other genres like Stephen Sondheim, people always thought that his approach to writing shows was a little thick. But I think people don't give the audience, the listener, credit that they're intelligent and that they can listen to something. You have to just find a way to speak to them. So yeah, I think, you know, stuff like a Goshen or stuff like the Law of Confession, people caught up with it later. Matter of fact, when we first did Back to Eden, and when I finished the lyric and we did it, I remember thinking like, oh, I nailed this. I hope they can get the revelation of what I'm trying to say. When we first did that song, released it, and it did go to #1, but when we first did it, a lot of pastors forbade their teams to sing it. They said that it was incorrect, and they didn't understand the Eden blessing. They didn't understand that it wasn't Eden that was wrong. It was man fell from Eden, and that Eden was a higher place of life. So when I wrote that lyric, I'm saying when God made man, he made us this way. And the operative word was deemed. He deemed us for a certain lifestyle, which was high.
Right.
It was high living. We fell down. Right. Jesus Christ came and he redeemed us. He put us back to there. So living on top of the world is living in back to the place that God designed us to. So that's really why I say let's get back to Eden, live on top of the world. It's like get back to your original design, the design of where when you spoke things happened, that you didn't have to communicate with words. You know, just getting us back. Y'all. All of that. God. So, you know, but then later on, I heard all pastors teaching the Eden blessing, understanding that. So it came around. So, you know, hey, it was okay. You know, I got beat up for a minute, but then they finally caught it. You know, celebrate my pastor, Dr. Winston, because he teaches like that. And a lot of that I'm inspired from his progressive teaching as well. So, you know, I think that anytime you're going to do something unique that hasn't really been done a certain way, you're going to always, it's not always going to be the most popular, but you have to just realize this is your path and be true to it and stick to it. So that's what I've been, you know.
You have spoken to so many creatives tonight with the information that you've given and the encouragement that you've given, because there is a redundancy in the industry where a repetitiveness where people feel like if they don't do it like the other person is doing it, it won't be received, you know. And people do have to understand what you've been given by God is uniquely designed for you. It's uniquely designed for you, and to come from you the way that you deliver it. If there's some things that need to be refined, okay, that's one thing. But as far as what and how, that's unique for you. And I think that what you have given to some of the listeners and watchers tonight is going to make people reassured about who they are, what God made them, what God has given them, and how to go about.
Like,
and to trust it.
Trust who you are. It, you know, like, you have to decide sometimes whether you're going to be famous or you are going to, let me say, have influence. Because sometimes fame is not always influence.
It's not always the same.
You have to decide. And if you know you got a word you need to give to people, you just need to give it. And it will find its way to where it needs to get to. And it may be a couple of years too soon, too early, but that doesn't mean that it wasn't a relevant word. So, you know, you just got to be true to it. And I've been here for a minute. So, you know, I grew into that. I can't say that I was always comfortable, just not my stuff getting love right out the gate, you know, because we all want our works to work, but you'll get to a place to where the impact of what you're saying and what you're writing is more important than the fame of it all. You know, you'll get there.
You found out, because you've been in so many arenas, you found out that your music and your work, your contribution does not just have to be in church.
No.
You found out that you can contribute to theater. You can contribute to film and theater being different, theater being maybe Broadway and some sort of stage play, and film being movies and documentaries, you know, docuseries and things like that, right? What is your take on people that only stay in one lane, trying to flourish in one lane, when it could possibly be like, maybe you should be writing jingles, maybe you should be writing songs for, you know, events happening in the community, you know, maybe you should find a school that might be willing to let you come in and work with the students, you know? What do you say to people that are trying to flourish in one lane?
This is what I would say is, if you just stay in the same space, you will be in the same space. Dr. Winston told me something that I kind of quote a lot. He told me that there is a mechanism that will be outside of the church that would ignite your true potential. We all have potential, but sometimes it's not ignited in the areas where we reside all the time. You may have to go somewhere else for something to say, hey, tap, tap, tap. That potential right there, wake up. I can say that because, you know, I found my flow. I found my resonance outside of the church, honestly. Now, don't get me wrong. I grew up in a very strict Pentecostal church.
Okay.
But my first professional job was with Stephanie Mills as a music director. And coming up from the community that I came from, that was a no. I got dogged out so bad for doing that. But when I went there, I had to duplicate her record live. So I would go in the studio and study what all the great producers did. Then all of a sudden one day I said, oh, this is producing, because I never had a desire to produce. I never wanted to do that.
Wow.
I didn't even know what it was. But after I learned how to reproduce her records live based on studying what they did, it woke up the producer in me. Had I not done that, what you hear from Donald Lawrence now, you would have never gotten. So it was a mechanism outside of my normal church
Right.
setting that woke up my producer potential. And
Right.
when it wakes up over there, you can come back to the kingdom and be a blessing. So I tell people, get out and learn things. Everything that will wake up the gifts in you may not necessarily be at church, but that doesn't mean you can't come back and be a blessing to the body of
I
Christ.
love that.
So don't forget that. Go there, let it wake up, be integral, mind yourself, and come back and be a big blessing to the kingdom. I think that that's what we're designed to do.
Donald, man, you have been a blessing on here tonight. Can y'all put some hearts, some more hearts in the comments? Hashtag power of the pen. Let me tell you, man, on this platform, we love you. And you know you are a dear friend and brother to me. I admire you. I'm always reaching out to you, you know, for some advice, you know, just some insight, because I trust you, man. I really do. And I'm glad to know you.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you again for accepting this invitation.
Oh, yeah.
And joining here tonight.
Yeah, he's been trying to get me to do this for a minute, but he knows I don't. I told him that when I talk, I will talk, but you have to talk me into talking. But once I get, I'll flow with you. So he pushed me, and so I finally was saying, okay, I'll do it tonight. So I'm glad we got a chance to chat, and I think this is a great platform, Estee. Congrats on all that you're doing. You're an incredible singer and writer, so keep on doing that. And all of you who are on, you know, don't let the industry make you doubt who you are. And just because you don't feel like you fit this, don't let it make you dial it back. Be who you are, and it will find its place. It really will find a door for you to where you will just show up. And, you know, I just think that I want to encourage everybody to be your own unique self. And, you know, God's got you.
Thank you. Thank you for being you. Thank you for what you contribute. Thank you for who you are. I am blessed. We are all blessed. Everybody on this live, the people that's going to come after and watch, we are blessed to have walked this earth with Donald Lawrence.
Man, thank you. I appreciate that so much.
Telling you.
And the way you just, that's how I felt about Andre, that's how I felt about Edwin and Walter, how I feel about Twinkie and Richard and Vanessa Bell. And I didn't really get to know Tom Whitfield like I would have loved to. But yeah, you know, definitely thank you so much. And everybody, again, I just want to encourage you, don't dial your gift back. Let it be as big as it's supposed to be. Don't let them make you dumb it down. If it's complex, let it be complex. Don't be complex just to be complex. Be organically whatever it is.
That's it, everybody. It's been great. It's been great.
Say what's on your mind. Speak loud from within. Make us sing along with the power of the pen. Say what's on your mind. Speak loud from within. Make us sing along with the power